Hello,
Hello, teacher.
how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Fine. Well, today I want to, um, I remember that we were talking about I mean, in order to write a biography about someone, I don't know if you did. If you didn't, you have to do, yes, and you're going to send it to me. Yes,
Okay.
but today what I want to explain is something important that has a name that are time clause. Clause is similar to sentence in English, a sentence, a clause, yes? Today we're going to try to explain some, because there are a lot, but some time sentences, time clauses. What's the meaning of this? These are sentences or clauses that show us what? When something happened. For example, a time clause can be next week. This is a time clause. Last year is another time clause. Yes? But today, the time clauses, we are trying to use more vocabulary, more expressions, okay? So, the first one we're going to use is when, because it's possible to start a sentence saying, for example, before I was born, before I started school, doesn't matter, before I moved to my new home, before I met my best friend, understand? So we're going to start with before I started, for example, school. And obviously, you remember that when a time expression is written at the end of the sentence, we don't need a comma. But when the time expression or clause is at the beginning of the sentence, for example, say, yesterday, comma, I went out. Or I went out yesterday. So in this case, like we are going to start the sentence with the time clause, we're going to write this. For example, before I started school. This is the only sentence? No. Before I went on my first vacation. Before my parents gave me my first bicycle. Before I met my best friend. Before I went to high school. There are, I know we can say a lot of, we can say thousands, hundreds, millions of sentences, okay? Well, but what happened? This part of the sentence, this time clause, this sentence is incomplete because if I say before I started school, and you say, well, tell me what happened, tell me more, what did you do, what was important for you, tell me information, give me information. So, what happened? How can you and me complete this sentence before I started school? I remember that, for example, I started school when I was 5 years old. Yes. So I can say that before I started school, I used to play with my sisters all day. I used to play with my sisters all day because I was at home, because we were at home, and because we did that. So before I started school, I used to play, or I played with my sisters all day. Your sentence?
Before I started school, I used to stay home all day with my parents.
I used to stay home all day with my parents. You say, okay, very good, with my parents. So this is your sentence. Before I started school, I used to be I used to be home. I used to stay. I used to stay home all day with my parents. Very good. Okay. What is the time clause? Before something happened. Yes. Another time clause can be, instead of before, what is the opposite? After. So instead of before, I can say, after I got my driver's license, comma, after I had my first bicycle, after I met my best friend, after, I don't know, yes. So for example, after I got my first cell phone. Well, I'm going to tell you to write, to complete a sentence with this time clause. After I got my first cell phone. After. So what did you do after you got your first cell phone? That maybe you can tell me if you got your first cell phone when you were, how old were you? Do you remember?
10 or 11. I
Right,
don't remember.
right. And nowadays you are 15 years old.
Yes.
It's like 5 years ago. Okay? So what did you do? What happened? What did you think? How did you feel? I don't know. Doesn't matter. After you got your first cell phone.
Um, I used to chat every day with my friends.
Yes. Try to tell me a sentence and don't use used to. After I got my first cell phone,
I used to send a lot of
right?
messages.
But don't tell me used to, right? So you
Um,
say after I got my first cell, because it's not necessary. After I got my
I
cell phone,
sent
I sent,
a lot of message. How to say?
yes,
Messages to my friends.
very good. So I sent many, for example, many messages to my friends. Very good. So the second sentence, using this time expression with after, the sentence is after I got my first cell phone, I sent many, a lot of messages to my friends. Very good. So remember, time clauses before I did something or after I did something. Okay? Yes? Well, now
Yes.
we have another time clause that starts with once. For example, once we could use the same sentence. Once I got my first cell phone. What's the meaning of once? So the the same second, the same moment my mother, my parents gave me the new on my first cell phone. So once my parents gave me the cell phone, I called my best friend. Understand? So once means immediately after. So instead of after, we can say immediately after, but they don't say immediately after, they say once. So for example, once I'm going to change the sentence. Suppose that you say, this sentence is for you. Once I went to high school. Once I went to high school, so once I started, once I went to high school, I don't know if for you was the same going to school, for example, fifth grade, sixth grade, and starting going to high school. Sometimes when a girl or a boy starts high school, that person becomes a little more independent. I don't know what do you feel about that? What do you think?
Yes, that's true.
Yes, because I don't know, but it's supposed that when you go to school, maybe your parents, how can I say, um, walk next to you to school every day, or give you a ride to school every day. Yes, but I think that when a student starts high school, many times, well, it's maybe the first time you take a bus alone. I don't know. Yes, so more this.
Yes.
Yeah, well, so we can say that once I went to high school, once I went to high school, it's correct to say I symbols of become, became. Is correct for you? I remember that for me it's correct. I remember that. I became more independent.
Yes.
And the experience was, I remember it, excellent. Yes, because you say, well, my parents rely on me, so you feel that you have been doing things correctly and that you have more freedom, and it's nice. So you can say, once I went to high school, for example, I became, maybe not totally independent, no, but I became more independent. This is true. Yes. And I think that this happens to everybody. And it's completely positive. Yes. Once I went to high school, I became more independent. Ah, yes, this is true. I became more independent. Very good. But you can say, once I got my first, what can I say, my first, I don't know, toy. Or once I got my first watch, or my first, I don't know, once I got my first something like roller skates, or I don't know, bicycle, or something like that. So, and you can say what you want. Well, before, after, once. The next time clause starts with similar to once. We can say the moment. The moment I started school, the moment I met my best friend, the moment I was 15, yes, the moment. The moment. For example, the moment I can say, because I am older than you, the moment I finished my career, the moment I started working at the high school, the moment many things. But in order to practice, we can say the moment for you, the moment I don't know, moved away, not because you are living at home, the moment, um, the moment I met, the moment I met, tell me a person, a girl or a boy that you consider someone important, has been important in your life, a friend, someone. Tell me the name. So the moment I met
Kiara.
Alba, the moment I met
Kiara, my best
Kiara,
friend.
yes.
Yes.
How do you write Kiara? With Q,
With K. With K.
with K. Kiara. Mm,
Kiara. Sorry. Yes.
right. So you say the moment I met Kiara. What happened? The moment you met her.
Um, I became more
Sociable.
sociable.
Right. The moment I met Kiara, I became more sociable. Well, what happened, Catherine? The sentence is correct, but the structure is in the other one. Once I went to high school, I became more independent. Okay. The moment I met Kiara, instead of I became more social, you can say, I started being more sociable. Uh, I felt. um, instead of I became more sociable, I started being more sociable. not to repeat the same structure of the sentence, okay? So,
Yes.
the moment I met Kiara, I started being more sociable. Ah, okay. So she was such a good influence on you. Yes. And you felt relaxed. You felt that you could rely on her. Yes. So you started being a little more sociable. Very good. So before, after, once, the moment. Okay. Let's go to another time clause. As soon as. Similar is a synonym of once or the moment, but it's another sentence, yes? As soon as. For example, as soon as, let me see, I started, I got, I went, I met, another verb to use. As soon as, I don't know. As soon as I traveled, I don't know where. As soon as I met, I don't know who. As soon as I got, I don't know what. Important for you. As soon as I maybe what happened as soon as you started practicing gym.
Mm,
As soon as I mean immediately after the moment. As soon as.
I felt happy.
You felt happy. Okay, so as soon as I, let's go to change started because we copy started in number one. As soon as I start, I went, we use yes, no went, no, another verb. So talking about artistic gym is what you practice. Okay, so as soon as I, as soon as I knew, for example, how to, as soon as I knew how to practice this, as soon as I went, as soon as I attend, because really you are attending class today, and when you go to the gym, you are attending a class. So as soon as I attended my, for example, my first artistic gym class, artistic gym class, this all this is the time clause. So the time clause is as soon I attended, as soon as I attended my first, as soon as I attended my first artistic gym class, as soon as I attended my first artistic gym class, how did you feel?
Very happy.
I felt, I felt, instead of very really, I
Or exciting, era emocionada.
really excited. Very good.
Yes.
I felt really excited. Very good. Yes. So you can say, as soon as I attended my first, as soon as I attended my first artistic gym class, I felt really excited. Okay. Really excited. Very good. Well, before, after, once, the moment, as soon as. Well, but we have other time clauses that we can start with until. Until. Yes, with this. Until. So what happened? You can say, until I finished school, because you finished school. Until I attended my first gym class, until I met my friends, until I know I got I don't know if it is a book, if it is a backpack, if it is a pair of something, sneakers, something that has an importance for you. So you can say, until I, let me see the time clause. Until I, wait. Until I, because you can say, until I, talking about met Kiara, until I met her, yes, I was not sociable at all, you can say. Understand? Yes.
Yeah.
So you can say, until I met my best friend, until I met my best friend, until I met my best friend. Can you say I was a little unsociable?
Yes.
Okay. I was maybe a little,
Very.
very.
Yes.
I was very unsociable, right? So let's go to, not to write a little. So until I met my friend, my best friend, I was very unsociable, right? So pay attention to the different sentences we can say using the different tense clauses. Before I did something, after, the moment, once I did, until I did something, as soon as. And the last one in the book here is by the time. By the time. By the time I graduated from school, instead of finish, by the time, did you know the career that you would like to follow in the future when you finish school, when you were,
Uh,
yeah?
yes.
So you can say, by the time I graduated, by the time I graduated from school, instead of finish school, from school, but by the time I graduated from school, this is the sentence, by the time I graduated from school, I, simple of no, I knew, or I already knew, yes, I knew, I wanted to be
Doctor.
a doctor, okay, so you can say, by the time I graduated, by the time I graduated from school, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. That's okay?
Yes.
Yes? So, what happened? With these time clauses, we can use them, to talk about important things specifically that you lived. So things that you experienced. So we're talking about the past, okay? We are talking about the past, something that you did, something that you liked, something that you enjoyed, something that you felt excited doing, yes, that you started. So useful time clauses, right? Well, and we are going to copy, and you are going to complete this, maybe for homework, because homework, the idea is that you have more time to think about the answers. I mean, how to complete. It's not that it's a homework that, when I say homework, is, well, maybe you sit down and you have some minutes to think about how to write. For example, we're going to write by the time I was, for example, 13. This is the first sentence that I want you to copy now, and then you are going to try to answer. By the time I was 13. What did you do? What do you think? How did you feel? I don't know. By the time I was 13, right? The second,
Yes.
the second sentence is until I started, until I started high school. Until I started high school. This is number 2. So what? Until I started high school. Try not to repeat more or less the examples. The examples, okay. Try to think about something else. So until I started high school. Very good. Number 3. The moment. For example, the moment I got. Have you ever got a pair of roller skates or something, a gift that for you was really important, or that you wanted to have something, and at last you got it? Do you remember something? Maybe a toy, maybe
No, I don't remember.
you don't remember. Can you
I
write a
was a child.
what?
When I was a child.
Right, yes. Do you remember a specific a
A
toy,
bike.
a bike? So the moment I got my first bike, we can say
Yes.
my first bike. Well, you're going to tell me what did you do, how did you feel? I don't know. So the moment I got my first bike. Number 4, as soon as, for example, as soon as, let me see, as soon as I, um, because you are very young, not so many things, but the idea is as um, as soon as I talking about as soon as I maybe watch something, maybe buy something, as soon as I bought, as soon as I bought, uh, for example, something, a piece of clothing that you really enjoy wearing, for example, and you buy it. Maybe you went with your mother, but with someone else or a friend, but you chose that something that you really liked wearing. As soon as I bought, no, as I bought, if you like wearing, maybe you have a sweater that is your sweater that you love it, or a
A
pair,
dress.
a dress.
Yes.
Okay. The moment I bought my pink dress, my first,
Yellow.
what color?
Yellow dress.
As soon as I bought my yellow dress, can be
Yes.
very good. Comma. As soon as I bought my yellow dress, what did you do? Yes, very good. Number 5, once. Once I started, when I started um, meeting teenagers. When I started meeting, because you started going to the high school and you started meeting teens on your neighborhood, right? So once I started meeting teens or my classmates, and now you can write what you want. Very good. Before, before, what is a place that you really liked or enjoyed visiting? Maybe in Uruguay. Because I remember that I went to many departments in Uruguay, but I remember specifically when I went to Colonia de Sacramento. So I got shocked. Something,
when I went to Minas in La Valleja.
okay, so before I went to Minas, I went to Minas. Very good. So you can say, before I went to Minas, before I went to Minas, very good. Well, the idea is, these sentences, there are six, with by, until, the moment, soon as, once, before. I would like you to complete, as a homework. This is okay?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. And remember that you have examples that you can read, etc. And remember the biography. I would like you to
Okay.
find someone, a young songwriter, a singer, or someone. And
I have to write a biography of someone
of someone.
famous.
That is a biography. Here it says, what is the person famous for? Remember the question? How and
Yes.
when did the person become famous? For which reason the person is famous? And the important achievements. For which reason you decided to write about that person? What did the person do that was so special, or that is special, right?
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Well, very good, Catherine.
Okay.
We're going to see next week. That's okay?
Bye bye, teacher.
Bye.